Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Chad.
And I'm Jack.
We're with Rocket Van, and we decided that it was time that we do another live stream. We actually were hoping to catch some of the Electron launch. Rocket Lab just launched an Electron. Looks like they did a fantabulous job again. Got that. I heard the call out
Their
for
36th launch of the, I think, ever. So
yeah, and it was a
it was
nominal.
another Electron.
Yeah, nominal payload deploy. So that is great for another small rocket company seeing that go. That was absolutely great. You know, one of the things we've got going on is we got a little bit to keep up or tell you guys about the end of the trip. You know, we were out on the road for a while. A few things we learned, things we're working on. This is Jack's Eagle Scout uniform. In the back, I'll talk about that here in a minute. We got a few other things to catch up with. What I'm going to try to do is let's see if we can get Jack to turn the light off.
Behind us.
Yeah, turn the light off behind us because I think it'll make for better lights for the live stream. So yeah, there we go. And that should make it a lot easier. Yeah, so that is Jack's Eagle Scout uniform, and well, both my kids are Eagle Scouts, so I'm quite proud of them for that. Wait, so you know, if you hadn't, if this is, I don't think we've talked to anybody about this since we've gotten them. So these are our Starship hats. But as soon as they did the launch,
it's probably backwards. That's always how a live stream is.
As soon as they did the launch, SpaceX started selling the Starship test flight, Starbase Texas for the people who went with the 4-leaf clover. So we ordered some of that, each of the patches, and Jack and I got a hat. Maggie got a SpaceX shirt. She actually got the shirt. We didn't order it from SpaceX. We ended up getting it at the Sands Museum in at the
Titusville.
No,
not
at the Canaveral
Space.
Yeah. At the Canaveral Space Museum.
Space Force.
Yeah, at the Space Force Museum. Great little museum. I mean, it's really nice that they were able to save that history and then put it on the outside of the. Well, some of it's on the outside, some of it's on the inside. So it's kind of hard to get to. I'm going to try to get some video at some of the inside. There's supposedly a tour you can sign up for. Get your credentials and stuff, and then get on base to be able to check that out. I'd really like to go look at some of the stuff they have there. It's been a really exciting time for what we've been working on. The live stream. I think it's been about a week since we did one, just talking about an update and letting people know what we're doing.
Yeah, we did it a week ago.
Yeah, so. We showed you our cards. We got that done. We're working on stickers. So
and then hopefully, if everything goes to plan, it'll be hopefully a Patreon package, maybe.
Yeah. So we're looking at starting
cards and
Patreon
stickers.
You know, a few people have asked us for super chats, but until we get 1,000 subscribers, none of that's available. So you know, we appreciate all the support people have offered. And you know that it's been a really, really good time. Jack and I have had a ball going and visiting a lot of these particular sites. Right now, we are working on our first video, and I'll give you a hint. This Boy Scout uniform makes a debut in there because Eagle Scouts and Scouts in general are astronauts. Or a lot of astronauts are of the subset of Scouts. And Neil Armstrong was an Eagle Scout, as was Jim Lovell, wasn't he?
There's a whole list of them. Let me see if I can find it.
There's just the amount of Scouts that have been astronauts is unbelievable. So when we were walking around Kennedy, we were seeing all of the Scouts who went on to do these things in the astronaut program. And they each got different levels of ranks. Several of them got Eagle. Some of them were second class. I mean, I think Bean. So Bean has a really good photo on NASA Images. And Bean is
Alan Bean.
Alan Bean. he is like
Just for
off way. Like, so if he's here, the Apollo lunar module is over here. And he's a really far distance, and we've got that in one of the videos. And he was a first class scout, I think.
Let's see.
So a lot of the
Mr. Bean.
a lot of them, Jack's got all the scouts here, and so I got to tell you, I'm very proud that my children are both Eagle Scouts. They work very hard. My daughter Maggie, and I don't know if you know Maggie, if
Yes,
you've met
Mr.
us.
Bean was a first class scout.
First class scout, Mr. Bean. So my daughter Maggie has cerebral palsy. If you've met her, you know that. She's wonderful. She is an Eagle Scout. She was one of the first girls to become an Eagle Scout. And I'll tell you a little bit about how the Scouts worked for Maggie. So Jack has been in the Scouts. So he was in there before Maggie. And we went to a weekend event for Shoot, Swim, Climb, something great that the SELA Council puts on at Camp Salmon up in the Salmon Scout Reservation up in the north of our county. And so when we went there, Maggie's like, well, Maggie was wearing her braces at the time and on her legs. And she goes, Dad, I want to climb that rappelling tower. Now, the rappelling tower is about 4 stories tall. And I'm like, Maggie, there's certain things you're going to be able to do and certain things that you're not going to be able to do. And, you know, as a dad, you hate telling a child that, but you're trying to set the right expectation level. So Maggie is just not listening to what I have to say. It's not sinking in. And then on top of that, some of the other climbing staff hear what I'm saying. And they're like, we got this. We can help her. She can do it. And so sure enough, Maggie goes down the rappelling tower. And once she goes down that rappelling tower, and this is where this is the moment when scouting really became paramount in my family and became like such a large part. You could see Maggie's self-esteem go from here to here. As soon as she went down that rappelling tower, she got off the top of the tower, came down, and she said, Dad, I want to be a scout. So the Scouts opened up in February of 2019. And we went to the first meeting. Maggie would not let the entire family miss a meeting. She ended up having some surgeries on her leg. After 1 week, she could not miss Scouts. I brought her there in a wheelchair. So unbelievable how dedicated my daughter is towards Scouts. My son, so if you're a scouting family, you know that every Eagle Scout gets to give some mentor pins. And it's people who helped you along the way. Well, Jack gave his pin to Maggie. And let me tell you, there was not a
Somehow it was a tearjerker. I'm not really sure how.
There was not a dry eye in the
And there was no intentions of that either.
No, but it was really good. Maggie has been there. So when I show you Jack's uniform, Maggie's got one too. So, and I'm just as proud as her on this. Although the Rockets, kind of more jackanized thing, but Maggie really liked the cruise ship. So if you were watching any of our live streams, you definitely saw the cruise ships going out.
Or you can go check out our shorts page. We got 2 or 3 videos of cruises.
Yep. So where's everybody at tonight? We see a few people on. Why don't you put in the comments where you're watching from? We're here in Waveland right now. If you haven't noticed, we're back at the house. There were a couple more rocket launches we wanted to watch, but we weren't able to
time them properly.
Yeah, Maggie's got some graduation stuff she needs to do. Jack is he's
free.
He's free, but he's got some grass to cut. The typical chores of a 15-year-old. So Jack has definitely got a little bit of work to do. We'll go back and see some more rocket launches soon because I think we've really enjoyed them, even Amanda. So since we did our last live stream, we ran into some problems actually. When we were out on the road, we used a lot of data, and I'm telling you, a lot of data. And so Verizon kind of throttled our account. So we were able to mitigate that. So now we should be able to do it. But I'm also going to bring my Starlink next time. So we won't have a lot of those issues. One of the things that going forward, we're going to try to keep a regular schedule on 2 things. releasing videos and doing our live streams, because we really are trying to grow the channel to the point where we can get that 1,000 subscribers. So share. If you're watching this video, share it. If you like it, comment, so if you want to tell us where you're at, that's great. All of these things are important. Who would have known to grow a YouTube channel you had to do all these things? Because it's
so many hoops.
So there's a few hoops you have to jump through. But with that being said, we're really enjoying the rocket side of things. And again, if you didn't see before, so Jack and I both have our Starship hats.
Which I did not know they were not backwards. They were perfectly fine. It's just backwards to us.
I need to take my patch out of this plastic. So let's see if we can do that. Because it's kind of
Not
blocking,
conducive.
not conducive for filming. And what I'd like to do is show you. Do you have a knife?
I don't have mine with me.
So we need to get a knife. I'll let Jack open that up. I can't see the line to pull it. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the chat. We're going to be here for a little while. Jack and I have been working on, like I said, our first video, and we're going to get that going. So this is the patch that we got in. This is for the first launch. So we ordered this from SpaceX directly, along with the hats. And you can see it's got SpaceX on the back, Starship on the front. There's been a lot of talk about the damage that happened to the rocket, and the damage that happened to stage 0, and then the flight termination system. So I wanted to talk and give my opinion on Jack and give his as well. The flight termination system, it's really bad that it didn't work properly, but they got data. That's how SpaceX moves this ball forward. They get the data, they understand what didn't work, and they don't repeat that. They change it.
Very simple.
Very simple. And I think of
what didn't work, try something else.
Yeah, what didn't work, try something else. And of all of the things that have been studied, I believe explosive destruction of things is a known science. And I think that it will not take long at all for SpaceX to solve any problems with the flight termination system. It's just my opinion.
If necessary, they could just make it a little
bit more boom boom.
Very foolproof.
Yeah. And so, I mean, people destroy buildings, right? Because that's the closest thing in my mind to what Starship was. It was a building. It was a 400-foot tall water tower. And so people know how to take those down. And
very well.
I think the problem was, from what I could see, is that the oxidizer was here, the fuel was here, and the two did not mix. So
you'd have to mix them internally.
Yeah, with a little bit more boom boom, it won't be a problem. And I also don't think so. One of the things is I heard people saying, if it had come over South Padre or Port Isabel, then the flight termination system would have blown up over them. I don't think that would have been the case. I think at sea level or at a very low altitude, that would have mixed very quickly and that would have exploded.
Just because the pressure is so high in the tank and the comparative outside pressure is not all that great.
I definitely think had the flight termination system been at a lower level, it would have exploded. But going forward, SpaceX, remember, everything that you saw on that launch for Starship, that was data collection. I was telling Jack, they probably have hundreds of cameras filming every angle, everything that they can get, because that is what the program does to iterate the next design. When you see how quickly SpaceX is going to come from this, people are be amazed at how quick they're going to be working. I've seen videos, they're already driving, they're working, they have plans. They know what they're doing. They've looked at the video. They assessed what some of the data is. The flight termination system, I think that's probably already got a new design, and they're probably building some of those designs now. Probably you will see that implemented on the next launch without any problems. So the next problem they have is the orbital launch mount. So the orbital launch mount was kind of really messed up. It threw a bunch of concrete at a bunch of places.
But I don't think the mount was really a
No.
problem. I think it was just the
Through the concrete.
I think it was just the surrounding concrete.
Yeah, but what that concrete did, right? It gave a lot of data to SpaceX. And one thing you got to never underestimate when it comes to SpaceX is when you give that company data, they're going to find an answer. They land rockets. Rockets are much harder than civil engineering. I'm just, no offense to civil engineers, because every engineer is important, but rocket science and flying rockets is the hard problem. So if you have three problems, you have the Starship problem, which is to have a fully reusable rocket that you can send to orbit.
That's the size of a 40-story building.
40-story building, yeah. When you have that, that's one problem. The flight termination system is another problem. A flame trench is another problem, or the orbital launch mount to controlling that. Those are three problems. And if you put them in my opinion, in the order of hard, like how hard the problem is, the hardest or the easiest one is the flight termination system.
Very simple.
Very simple. They can get more aggressive.
It's never been a problem to make something blow up. They just try to do it in a very simple way.
Yeah, it's never been a problem.
Actually, it was a very complex way, because I guess that's the way they felt it was.
They try to use
a good idea to go through sheets of stainless steel.
Yeah, they try to use a minimal amount probably. And who would have thought this rocket would be as robust as it is? I'm sure the engineers did, because they designed it. But they can fix that problem. That's not a big deal. Like I said, the next thing is the launch mount, the flame trench if they have to have, the deluge system, all of these things. I think these are solved problems too. NASA did this with the Saturn V. Now, everybody gives SpaceX a really hard time for moving fast. But let me tell you, when the Apollo program was here, they were moving fast.
We went to the moon in under 10 years.
And had it not been for the lives we lost in Apollo 1, I don't think we would have made it to the moon. Or we'd have lost a lot more astronauts. So as we were walking, so when you get into Kennedy and you go to the Saturn V complex, Apollo 1 is right at the beginning. And then there's some more memorial stuff for him. And we also saw this at Huntsville and at Houston. Mm-hmm. Those guys gave their lives to move mankind forward. And it's a tragedy that it happened. We learned from it. And we made a safer space travel from it. We were moving very, very, very fast.
But safe.
Well, we had an accident. And that accident, what did they shut it down for 18 months?
I think it was 18 months.
Let's see. So for 18 months, we said we're going to focus on safety, because every time that we launch a person, we want it to be safe, because that's one of our friends. That's somebody's dad, or somebody's mom now, because a lot of the astronauts are female. Those things are imperative as we move forward for safety. Now let's get back to Starship. Starship didn't have anybody on board. Even if it had blown up, I don't think it would have created the same amount of damage as what you saw, because the rocket puts out more force straight down and blew a massive amount of concrete places. SpaceX will solve this problem. This will be just, they've got the data. They understand the forces better than ever before of what's coming out those rocket engines. I think that's going to be a problem. The hard problem, and this is the one SpaceX has got to solve, and they're working to solve, is a fully reusable rocket, especially one of Starship size. Taking that thing all the way to orbit and then coming back and landing both pieces and reusing them at a cadence that Elon Musk promises, that's the hard problem. That's the hard problem. That's when you have the engineers of SpaceX class where they're working really hard to solve problems of full reusable. You got to remember, most companies for all of space travel have thrown the rockets away, just literally crashed them. We watched the Falcon Heavy the other night. What was really unique about it is the whole rocket was thrown away. But what was interesting, when it was thrown away, several of those pieces had flown numerous times. They were
Wasn't their
reused.
first-
So
Wasn't their first trip?
no, I'm wondering if it wasn't their last trip because of life expectancy too. You know, they're probably maximizing. And look, I think all the rocket companies are good, and I think they're all trying to move things forward. I want to learn as much about them as possible. I do really appreciate this iterative engineering approach. I think that kind of stuff is what's moving SpaceX ahead. And when you watch the launch cadence that Falcon 9 has. So when we were at Kennedy, what time was that launch, Jack? The last Falcon 9.
The last Falcon 9 was Thursday, I think.
Thursday at 3:30 in the morning. So, and I'll tell you, we were parked right at Jetty Park, and we were waiting for the launch. And Jack's doing the countdown, and then all of a sudden, the whole sky lights up. It looked like the sun was rising.
Mhm.
Goes up, and a Falcon 9, because it's burning RP1 and liquid oxygen. What color would you say that is? Sun?
Yes.
It's bright like the sun. So when you
Sun
see
is
it
an
going,
accurate color.
yeah, sun is an accurate color. Let me see if
And that's on the title of the live stream.
and I'll let Jack tell you a little bit about what he saw. Well, I'm gonna try to pull up a picture of. Oh, look at this. So Jack and I went down to the Keys. Well, the whole family did, and we spent a little time in the Keys. And this is a picture of Jack and I on about a 2-mile hike. We did not expect it to be that long, but good thing we brought some water because it was hot. Let's see if I can get you a picture of the rocket launch. Jack, why don't you tell them what your experience was watching that Falcon 9?
So the Falcon 9s, believe it or not, were somehow louder than Starship and Falcon Heavy. I'm not really sure how, but I have a feeling that it has something to do with the RP1 that they use, just because it's a different type of fuel. But compared to Falcon 9 or the Falcon Heavy, there was some difference that I don't know. I think it's probably have to do with the atmosphere. But
yeah, I think the atmospheric conditions definitely play a big part in how
how it sounds.
Because the Falcon 9s were amazingly loud. So if everybody out there, I see we have a few people online. If you could tell us where you're from in the chat, that'd be great. I'd like to know where everybody's coming in from. But I wanted to show you. I've got some good pictures. I used one of them. So this is that Falcon 9 as it was coming in. I mean, going out. It was not coming in. So we actually saw one of these has the boost back burn. So the landing burn. You can see. I caught both of them. It was really far in the distance. So like really, really close to the horizon.
It was like right above the tree line.
We couldn't see it, but I think I did get one shot with it in here. I'm looking for it. So Jack, how long do you think it took till we heard the sound?
Probably maybe 20 to 30 seconds. I don't know. You'd have to calculate it because I think it's 12, 13 miles, somewhere around there. And then, the speed of sound and just whatever, divide the distance by the speed of sound. So, well, let's see.
So the speed of sound is what, 720. So I've got a few other ones, but I'm going to show you some. So like when that rocket was taken off, this is the rocket van, and that gives you an idea. It's not the best way to show it. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this better on a live stream. But that is how bright that was. That's a night photo. And that is the Falcon 9 launching at 3:31 in the morning in Jetty Park. And what's actually funny is there's a submarine right under it's lit up right there. There's a submarine base. Cape Canaveral is really busy. I was amazed at how much that space station or Space Force station does. I mean, they've got a lot going on. And also Kennedy too. So we did spend another day at Kennedy in the afternoon. Jack and I got out there. I got off work a little bit early, and we were able to go out there. So if anybody has any questions about any of the things we saw, or if they just want to tell us where they're at, just go ahead and put that in the chat. We are actually on my bigger monitor, so we can see and probably chat a little bit better on this particular one. So
Hopefully.
we did watch Rocket Lab launch a little while ago, and Rocket Lab's a spunky little company that launches rockets, and you really got to appreciate it. One of the things I think that they do, and I'm going to learn more about all the things so I can explain it better, but I believe they're using lithium batteries to power their pumps, their rocket pumps, or the pumps to pump the fuel into the rocket. And then as the lithium battery is discharged, they eject it off, just drop it, and so it reduces that mass, so they no longer need to push that mass, and just makes the rocket faster and more efficient. So I think that's it with as far as the
So
rocket
about a
lab.
minute. I think it's about a minute.
A minute to get the sound.
Yeah.
It was it took a decent little time to hear it. Now, well, I will tell you, when we watched Falcon Heavy, you could see like all the trails, and with Falcon 9, same thing. Like you could see the trail on the single engine when it really got up high, and you could see like a blue vapor coming out of it when it hit high up in the atmosphere. It was a really pretty sight for early in the morning. It's hard not to get excited about these rockets. Even people who, are not into rockets, and it's not really something they're super interested in. When you see a rocket launch, it's really a neat thing to see. It's loud, it's impressive. It's so very visual on that rocket going up. It lets you know it's there, and so I'd like to do a little recap on our trip, and I'd like Jack to tell you a little bit about his experience on the road.
So it was fun. We drove to Starbase sometime in the beginning of April. I think it was probably about April 12th. We stayed in Boca Chica. We stayed in a condo on South Padre Island. We stayed there for about a week, and then we left on the 21st or 22nd. I think it was probably the 22nd. But we kind of wish we could have stayed there a little bit longer, because it would have been super cool to find one of the thermal tiles that they put in the outside of Starship, and we saw a couple people who did. And they were very lucky to get their hands on that. So after that, we left, which was an amazing trip. So if you ever get the chance, definitely go down to Starbase, just because it's so much fun, and you can't get any closer. So we went to Florida. We went to Cape Canaveral. We went to Kennedy Space Center. It's very nice. You have a Saturn V and Atlantis there, Space Shuttle Atlantis. So that was really cool to see. The Polaroids of that didn't come out so good. I think it was just the lighting. They had a couple dim areas, but those were where the cool things were. So, but then we went to go see the Falcon Heavy launch. We went to the Keys, came back, and we just had a good time. So if you ever get the chance, go do it.
All right, so I am adding a poll right now because I want people to vote. I have to remove some of these. So we're going to vote on the time for the next Starship to launch. And so 3 months, 3 to 6 months, and then I think 6 to 12 months, and then more than 12 months will be the final option. And we'll see what everybody votes on that. Let's see, add option 12 months, 1 year or more. Let's go to change the year or more. Okay, so let's see. I'll ask the community that if you want to vote in our poll, you can take that poll and you can put what you think that when the next time they're going to launch Starship. So right now, people are leaning toward 3 to 6 months. I don't know how I can vote, but if I could vote, I would vote 3 months. I don't discount people at SpaceX. Like I said, they land rockets, so
Well,
that's
Elon
actually
Musk also has a form of time. It's his concept of time. I think it's called the 2 weeks. 2 more weeks.
Yeah. So now we're running 3 to 6 months for 67%.
He says 2 more weeks every 2 weeks.
So, you know,
And then there's a point when he says a month, and then it's relatively accurate. And then he gets down, then after that, to the weeks, like singular weeks. So 1 week left, and then that's it because it doesn't go anywhere. And then
yeah.
you have 1 week left, and then can't get much smaller increments.
So the other question is, so, you know, a lot of people have asked us to do super chats and stuff like that. So Jack and I are toying with the idea of doing Patreon for anybody who wants to do it, because although our goal for this month is to hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you're watching us, please like, subscribe, and share, comment. Those are the things that help us grow the channel, that helps us do it. But people have asked us to do Patreon, and we're not sure if we're ready for that. We talked about it. I'd like your opinion if you think that we should look at doing a Patreon. Maybe I'll do a poll so people can at least put some kind of answer. Let's start a Q&A here. Start that. And now you should be able to also go ahead and ask any questions that you might have about our road trip. I do hope to also put in there whether or not we have the Patreon account, if anybody's interested in that. I think we might be too early to set that up, but a few people have asked. So that will be interesting. I know it is Sunday night and it is a school night for
Lots of people.
Lots of people. Work night for me. I gotta work tomorrow. So this is in the background for those of you just joining us. This is Jack's Eagle Scout uniform. Both of my kids are Eagle Scouts. Really proud of that. We've talked now. We've covered. Let me see what we've covered. We covered our road trip.
Yeah.
We covered Starship and what the problems
Lots of
are.
Starship.
Lots of Starship. The three main problems, and I'll cover them again real quick. The flight termination system, the orbital launch mount or stage 0, that whole setup, and the Starship program, you know, the rocket and the booster. In order of hardness, easiest first, flight termination system. We're going to solve that problem really quick. Next is all the stuff that for stage 0. And third, a hard problem is Starship. That's the one they're going to have to work on. So, you know, we'll continue to do these. Did we stop at Buc-ee's? Yeah, we did a couple Buc-ee's. Let me see how I answer this. So the Buc-ee's.
I think you answered just how you're answering.
Okay, that's how you do it. You got to learn as you go. So the Buc-ee's is if you haven't been to one, it's like this massive gas station with.
It's the Disney World of truck stops, but it's not a truck stop. It's just a standard gas station.
They don't take trucks, so it's just gas
They will
stations.
turn
They're known
you
for
away
clean
if you have
bathrooms.
trucks.
Yeah. So, you know, it's Buc-ee's is interesting. They got really good branding, and I'll do when the fuel's usually pretty well priced. So if you do have to stop, you know, it's a pretty good place to stop. So we'll go ahead and end the Q&A now. Confirm, and we have that now. And look, we're going to end our poll. Keep up the great work. Thanks. Appreciate that. That is very nice. We're trying really hard. Our first video is almost done. Jack and I have been working really hard on this video, and that's going to make an appearance. And
hopefully that should be done tonight, if not tomorrow.
Yeah, and so we're going to try to post that, and we really want feedback, because we didn't intend on having a YouTube channel, or a YouTube.
It kind of came about.
Yeah, but we've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun, you know. So we're getting to visit with a lot of people that from all over. We made a lot of friends on the trip, and it's amazing how many friends we made that I am still communicating with weeks after I met them for minutes. When you find people who have a shared interest, it's very you can tell, and that's been really really great. I will tell you we have a NASA facility right near us, which is Stennis Space Center. We have been big supporters of trying for the Infinity. We always try to donate every year to that cause because we believe in that, the education of this, moving engineers forward and really having people think more. Think about problems that are bigger than them and how to make solutions and stuff like that. I think it's important to do. And I think the space program and the Apollo program to me was the epitome of a country coming together, picking a path, and going down that path. Now, there was a lot of things going on. The country had some turmoil.
I mean,
We
you're
had the civil
talking
rights movement. We had a president assassinated. We had
Lots
all
of
of these
things.
things, and the country just kept moving on. We lost astronauts. We did all of these things, but we landed people on the moon. And
2 years from the time that Apollo 1 happened, we had men walking on the moon.
Was it 2 years?
1967.
67 was Apollo 1 fire. Yeah, and that was a horrible, horrible accident. And they had some of the stuff there. And when you walk through the back of the Saturn V building, like the whole back
No, that was
corner,
1962. It said it was
62.
67.
Yeah, so it was earlier than that. When you walk through the back of the Saturn V building at Kennedy, it's kind of dedicated to the Apollo 1 astronauts.
No, it was 1967. I was right. Somebody said 1962.
There's also a section there for the Challenger and for the Columbia. And of all things Kennedy did right, it is respectfully honoring those people who gave their lives to further humanity. And that was really done. So if you hadn't been to Kennedy, I got to tell you, I was blown away when there's a section of Challenger up against the wall. And then you turn and the windows of Columbia are there. And you feel that these were people's family. I mean, these were family members. These were astronauts we're all proud of first. And then these are people's family members that were on this. And it's hard not to tie the humanity back to it. And that's kind of the idea of our first video, is because most of this stuff, so Starship stainless steel and a bunch of metal and rocket fuel and stuff like that, but there's nobody on that right now. The humanity is the people giving their all to make this work, to better us all. The humanity that were on these rockets were real, and they lost their lives, and that was a tragedy, and we should learn from those mistakes and be very safe with those. But I will say, humanity away from that part, we weren't built for space.
Humans are not properly designed to be put in a vacuum.
Yeah. So
we're not water bears.
We've looked at the bathrooms in space. That's very interesting.
But for some reason, and I don't understand it, in all museums, people say they're related, and they are, in all honesty, they are. But you don't want them right next to each other. They always put the oven where you prepare your food, like the water dispenser and the warm oven. They always put that right next to the toilet, and I still don't understand.
Well, I told Jack the spacecrafts are very small, but I know that of course we're talking about humanity, right? So we are human, and there's biological functions that have to happen in space that was not designed. So it's taken some clever engineering. When we were at the American Space Museum in Titusville, there's one of the original defecation units that it's a very formal term that they used, and it basically was a bag that you stuck to your butt to go to the bathroom. And that's how you use the bathroom for Apollo. Now, I know Dragon had a bathroom, but I'm not sure that it went so well on the trip around. Remember, we were not built for that. Another thing to know we were not built for is to eat astronaut ice cream
It's
in
like eating
space.
Captain Crunch. Like
Yeah.
you have no roof of your mouth afterwards.
So the kids, when we were at the museum, wanted us to get astronaut ice cream. Everywhere we go, it's like it's the first time. They always want astronaut ice cream,
It just cause.
just because. So we get astronaut ice
There's
cream,
no specific
and
reason.
and I'm eating the astronaut ice cream, and when I first bite on the astronaut ice cream, I'm breaking it off. It explodes, and I have astronaut ice cream.
Astronaut ice cream is not designed for space. Just because it has the name astronaut in it does not mean that it's a good idea.
No, something about inhaling astronaut.
They also
ice
have
cream.
the MMU, the manned maneuvering system. It's like your own personal spacecraft, unlike your suit, but you are completely untethered from your spacecraft, and it's just you in your spacesuit, no reentry, no nothing, and you're just out there. So you run out of fuel. Good luck.
You might need that defecation bag.
Might be
Yeah.
a bit small.
So that all of this space stuff is really important and what we're doing, but we got to remember the humanity involved in it, and we are people. So things like blankets, things like spacesuits. Because what is a spacesuit?
It's a space blanket.
No, it's not a space blanket.
Oh, it's lots of layers of space blankets and
but
Kevlar and
It's basically a
lots
spaceship.
of things. It is. It's your own personal vehicle.
Who was it? Bruce McCandless that did the
MMU.
So the MMU. If you're not familiar with this
Let's
picture,
see.
this picture is probably one of the craziest pictures a person could get ever, and that is
Probably the ballsiest person in history, just because.
He got away with the jetpack, right? The MMU, and he gets away from the shuttle, and he's in the vastness of space at that point. He's another thing floating in his own little orbit, and if he doesn't have enough power to get back to that shuttle, well, luckily he did. But the photos are phenomenal. The Earth is in the background, and he's just out there by himself in his personal little spaceship, which is, like I said, every one of these is important. I'm kind of hinting into what we're going to talk about, and all of this in our first video is going to tie together these topics, which will be good. In high school combos,
So
there he is.
this is Mr. Bruce McCandless.
He is out there on his own. There is no coming back from that.
And that's very zoomed
without
in. And he goes out way further than that.
All right, so we're going to ask Jack. We're going to test him. So Jack has taken some aerospace engineering classes at MIT. So he didn't get the math, but I told him, I said, don't worry about the math. Go and learn what you
get
can.
some of it.
Yeah.
You understand a little bit of it.
So what is the most important thing about rockets and being able to move them around?
When you say that, what do you mean? Your delta V?
Delta V. That's what it's all about, is delta V. Delta V is the ability to change from one direction to another. So if you want to get going
you have
this way, you have a certain amount of delta V.
You have so when you take off, you have a certain amount of delta V. And no matter what you do, you have to work within the confines of that number. So it's
So I'm reading this comment. In high school, combos were what we were told the
snack
astronauts were
combos.
eating. Chad, do you remember that? Is that the pretzels with cheese?
Yes, the nasty ones.
Oh, I think I've eaten those.
They're not nasty. They're
I think I've eaten those, and they definitely.
I'd imagine they're a whole lot like Chex Mix. Not great.
I'll tell you one of the coolest things I saw as far as so we're going to do a video on food too, because like really what we're focusing on our first sets of videos, and this will clue this in, is the humanity. We're going to look at what it takes for humans to go to space. We're not designed for space. We puff up really big in a vacuum, not good, suboptimal.
And on Thanksgiving on Earth, you also puff up very big.
Just like Thanksgiving, except for a little bit worse. We also don't do well basting, in the sun and freezing on the other side. So if you can imagine the worst sunburn in Ice Age, all meet each other with your body as the insulator.
It must be funny to have sunburn and frostbite at the exact same time.
Oh, space pants, pantalones de space. I think that would be the way to say it. So it would definitely be interesting. So there's that, right? Then there's all the medical stuff that comes into it.
Lots of doctors.
Lots of doctors, and the reason why we need doctors is our bodies were not built for space. Our bodies are used to gravity. We have a certain amount of force that is put on every part of our body. If you ever notice, every time you see astronauts, they're always working out. That's required to keep moving forward. You know, they've got to constantly be working out, constantly be doing things to keep from falling apart while they're in space. And I think I read too that your eyes change permanently when you go to space. And maybe they don't come back. Who were the two twins? There were twins that went to
Scott
space.
Kelly and Mark Kelly.
Scott Kelly and Mark Kelly, and that's an interesting story. Maybe we'll do a video on that one day. Two astronauts that were twins. One went to the space station for a year, right?
Mhm.
And the other one stayed on Earth.
I don't know. Let's see.
And
Scott
so
Kelly. He's now
then they
with governor, I
compared
think.
their health and things like that of what's going on. But that's one of the things on humanity. The food. So because we have to eat, we're biological machines. Got to eat. That's important. How do we do food?
He stayed in space for 1 year.
You know, we're getting past the Mark Watney part of just eating potatoes farmed in your own poop, I think is what it was. But on a regular basis, we have to have food that, you know, one, we can eat safely, that is enjoyable, because you got to keep morale up, because you're basically living in a very small area, really. I mean, we've seen the space station fly by, and I think it's the size of a football field with the with all the solar panels and
Yeah.
everything.
It's not very big.
It's not a very big place to live.
And it's not even that size, because that's like with your full solar and thermal arrays, and you're talking probably the sizes of several school buses put together, and that's like your main work area. Like,
Yep.
not very big. If you go and look at Skylab, I think they have a similar situation. It's not very big, but it's enough place.
So
that you
Skylab
can
was
work.
basically the stage in the Saturn V. So Nick at the American Space Museum had told me something that was interesting. He's a curator there. He told me that most astronauts love hot sauce because they can't smell as good in the food, because it's all packaged. Because think about it. Remember that astronaut ice cream I was talking about? Break that in space, everywhere. You're breathing
That's why
that
it's
in.
not really a good idea.
I mean, you're gonna suffocate. You know, you're gonna basically die. You got to keep your food, your water, as contained as possible. So that's one of the things that you have to do. Do astronauts have to wear some sort of garments to support the lack of gravity in space?
Yes and no.
I know exercises.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're exercising, you just have to strap yourself in just so you don't go flying, because pushing against nothing is not really going to work. But just in general, no. Like if you're just floating around your habitat or the ISS, because that's the most current space station. No, for just working. But if you're outside of your vehicle, yes, what you have is your thermal control unit. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but what it is it pumps cooled water throughout like a vest.
Like your undergarments, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like your
It's like a
layers of undergarment.
Cooled vest.
Also, something we've been looking at.
You can go find pictures of that somewhere.
So exercise is real important. One of the things on the International Space Station, the exercise equipment has to be isolated. So it's like on springs or something like that, because if it didn't, it would start causing oscillations in the space station. So they
Very
have
interesting.
to they have to isolate, all the equipment, because as you're pulling up and down, you're asserting forces onto the vehicle. On Earth, it doesn't matter a whole lot, because you're not going to move the Earth, and gravity is keeping you down. But in the space station, every time you start lifting weights, doing all these things, you start affecting force. You start putting inputs into the system, and that's one thing. It's always important to know when you're in space. and even when you're on Earth, like I said, but the Earth and gravity kind of solve some of this. Every input you put, Newton's laws, every input you put is going somewhere else. If you push off on the wall this way, you've pushed the wall that way a little bit, but you're going this way. So every action has an equal but opposite reaction. Becomes much more evident in zero gravity or microgravity.
So I'm going to ask a question to all ye in chat, just
Oh,
everybody.
yeah. Jack's on an old English kick. He's like
all ye. It's very wide range.
wide range.
All of you, more words. All ye, hear ye. Not hear all of you, hear all of you. But all of you in chat, if you would like something to go to space, what would that be? Just
Or are you
random
asking them like
question.
if they had,
if you were to send something to space, what would it be?
like, so if you could give it to an astronaut to take to space and give it back to you, or just go?
Both. Just go and stay there, and as well as be given and taken back.
I bet you the sun could cook a really good pizza.
So, do I count as a stowaway? Do I count as an object?
I don't know. I think,
Might be a bit too
Jack, if
large.
I had to send something to space, was it Neil Armstrong that put a picture of his family on the
Mhm.
moon? Yeah,
A
that.
picture that degraded very quickly.
Yeah, but it's the thought that counts, and I think that would
Same with
be,
the sandwiches.
that would be good for me. Some people bring up their ashes and stuff like that.
Crosby.
Crosby needs to stay on Earth. I like Crosby. Don't think Stella Crosby. I don't think, even though Stella's called an astronaut dog, she would not do well
I
in
would
space. When the
have-
aliens come around the spacecraft, she's going to bark at them, and it's not going to be nice.
I would have to send. I don't know. I think I would have to send one of my Lego space shuttles.
Yeah. Oh, I did get something today.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm gonna get Jack to go get it.
I haven't finished
So
it.
I've been wanting this for a while.
The Lego typewriter.
The Lego
This is
typewriter.
my current project. It's slightly repetitive, but it's fun.
Oh, but wait, it's not for Jack.
It is not for me.
That
no.
is for me.
The building process is for me.
So I
know
have
that.
a space shuttle and I have a typewriter. I'm very choosy on my Lego sets. But and I actually don't build them. My space shuttle is sitting there. If I ever get a really nice office, so maybe that's one of my goals of the YouTube channel, right? If I get it big enough, I am going to build my space shuttle and I'm going to put it on my wall. And Jack has another thing. Jack, would you go get something? Oh, Jack is.
If I were to send something
Oh, y'all are
to
going to get a
space,
treat
to
tonight.
the ISS, it would have to be this. Just because this floating through the ISS, I don't know, something about it would be very cool.
So that is the his Lego thing.
Tidbit.
Jack, would you go get what you made me for Christmas?
Ooh,
So
yeah.
this is a treat because Jack made me something. It is a very cool shuttle. I have one in a box, and when I get an office one day, I'm going to get a Falcon 9, a Falcon Heavy, a Starship. I'm going to have the whole rocket parade behind me. I do have a leg lamp. If anybody hadn't seen that, there it is, right there. That is a leg lamp, and that maybe I'd send a leg lamp to space. What do y'all think about that?
And I think a leg floating through the
So-
sky would not be very.
So this is one of my favorite gifts I've ever
See if the
received.
cable's long enough.
Um,
Let me plug it in up here.
so
Oh,
Jack is
that's
unplugged.
not great.
He unplugged the power cord. He's going to plug it back in, but we're going to get this up. So, and I'll take, as soon as he gets this all plugged back in, I'm going to get this plugged up here so we can.
That's not great. Now I have to bridge.
So he's going to plug it in there. So I'm going to show you this. This is actually pretty cool. So I'm going to take the globe off very carefully. Set that over there. So Jack made me this for Christmas. And it's a little bit bright. But this is a Falcon Heavy that he made. And you can see, if I can get really close, you can see he's like, see, it's got the Falcon Heavy. And like here, there's SpaceX on it.
It was a fun
Um,
little project.
But so when it sits on my desk, and I'll have to put it up a little bit so you can see it. Let me set it up here so you can see it. So when it's sitting on my desk, yeah, that's my that is my Christmas gift. This is the best gift that you could give somebody. So he made each of these little pieces. Look, wait, let me turn it around. There's the tower. He's got the
Somewhat
tower.
detailed tower.
Yeah, and he's got these really cool LEDs. Let me see if I pull this down a little bit. You can see it. That's about how bright the Falcon is when you see
Let's
it.
see. I
Yeah,
don't know if I could just barely
cover
so you
it.
could see it.
Yeah,
You can see the 3 LEDs if I just barely cover it. You
yeah.
can
There's
see the
3
little lines.
streams, so the LEDs are long, but
They're very flexible. It's very interesting. They're the flexible. I think
I don't know where to block the light because the light is so much. What do y'all think about this one? I think this is a really cool
I'm gonna
gift.
have to cover my face.
He's covering
Let's
his face.
see. The
No,
sunglasses
I
help.
don't think
No.
it works.
Oh, a little bit. A little bit.
So I mean, maybe what I can do is unplug it, or you can unplug. Let's see, unplug it, and then we'll shine the light on it so you can see it. So this is, as you can see, he's got 3 little LEDs on it.
And they're flexible like a noodle.
So he's handwritten SpaceX and drawn
Believe
the
it
logo.
or not,
Falcon Heavy.
this is very small. So you're talking, let's see, this big. So
He's got the launch mount. I don't know
Very
exactly
small.
all what went into it, but I will tell you what, this is this was very well done. And God, I was bragging about that. I'm bragging about it right now. So this is so if anybody out there wants to make a Father's Day gift for somebody or something for a space enthusiast around him, how long did it take you to make this, Jack?
a couple days. You know, just this. So you can do so well, like for painting and whatnot. But when you get to a certain size, because I enjoy model building and I have something coming in that is related to our channel for model building. But once you get to a certain size, it all kind of just blends together because that was drawn with an ink pen and I could not get any paint to stick and be that small and consistent.
Yeah, paint is hard on it.
Up close, it is, but once you get about 2 feet away, it's
So this is a question we actually had with the Dear Moon crew. So if anybody doesn't know Dear Moon, so Dear Moon is going to be one of the first groups. There's a billionaire from Japan that is paid for 8 people
8 people.
plus himself to go around the moon. But he didn't get engineers, he got creative folks, which is really good. Get people from other walks of life and experiences to look at the moon and space travel and things in a different way. And we may inspire a whole new group of people. And the more people we bring in to inspire them to dream about what can be, it's better. Sometimes we get stuck on the minutia here on Earth. And, in my opinion, dreaming big, thinking big are good things. So I asked the Dear Moon crew if they were excited about it, and yes. And I said, and we talked about Jack and I of whether or not we would go if we had the opportunity. I'm a hard pass. I got a family. I appreciate very, very, very much the people who climb on top of that rocket. And well, look, there's songs about this, right?
Good job, David Bowie.
Yeah, there's songs about this, but I don't think I could. I just don't, at least not at this point. But I got to tell you, Falcon Heavy is pretty much flying like an airplane. It launches consistently, lands back, rinse and repeat. And I've got the way I like to call my Falcon Heavies is I like them crispy, and crispy by when they're all charred up.
The crispier, the better
from the burns. So here's a question for everybody in chat, and I want y'all to answer this. Let me make it a poll. So this will be my poll for, let's try this one, start a poll. Let's see, do I have to stop? Maybe I have to stop my other poll. So the final answer on our last poll was, let's see, in the poll, I believe that 3 to 6 months was the number one answer. 16% for 3 months, 66% for 3 to 6 months. 6 to 12 months is 16%. This is how long people believe it'll take to relaunch Starship. But let's ask
Grilled
this question.
Falcons, yes.
We are going to grilled Falcons.
The question is, are the grilled Falcons better in sandwich form?
Okay, so this is for everybody out there.
Meaning the Falcon Heavy. You sandwich in grilled Falcons in between two grilled Falcons. So.
Flacken. I can't type. So this will be a good question. Everybody get their answer in. Let me put these, and we'll get this answer, and this poll will close out a lot sooner.
So yeah, I think I saw somewhere. Well, I think somebody at SpaceX said that they started to create a water-cooled plate, and they were going to add it, but they decided to launch anyway. I think that's what it was. I think they had a large water-cooled steel plate at the bottom,
Yep.
and they just have it all built. So I guess when they rebuild the OLM, it's just gonna
remember
be installed.
The point that I talked about is they've already captured all the data that they need. So data is how SpaceX engineers solve problems. They use science. They look at the data. They determine what didn't work, what happened, what are the possible ways to solve the problem. They model it. They build it. They test it. That's the cycle, rinse and repeat. Just keep doing it over and over until you solve the problem. So the for those of you in the chat, so this is our poll question, and this is one that I love because somebody told me you could never recertify stuff to fly for space again. And my question to you is, would you rather ride a brand new Falcon 9 or a used Falcon 9? So answer in the poll. Right now we're running 100% on used. So think about that. We're running 100% of people who would rather ride a used rocket than a new one. And tell me that is not a paradigm shift in what the world was before. And look, the shuttle program was designed to be reusable. It was hard. I'd ride Space Vulture. I'd ride a used one since it's already flight proven. Exactly. There's no better test than sending it to space, or at least to the edge of space, and then coming back down, re-entering. Crispy. Crispy means that it is
grilled.
It's crispy, and grilled Falcons are the way you want to ride them. Not that there's anything wrong with a new one, because a new one is everybody has a brand new paint job. Everybody who's bought a new car knows what it looks like for the first 15 minutes. And then the person with the buggy inevitably right into the side of your car.
That's always fun. I hate to ask this, but as a small YouTuber, as we are still currently under 1,000 subscribers, everybody who can subscribe, that would be wonderful, because YouTube does not allow you to have all the tools that you would otherwise if you had 1,000 subscribers or more. It's really weird because like mobile live streaming, like if you're at a launch and you want to live stream and you do not have internet, because that typically does not happen.
Cannot use
this. SpaceX launches. Ooh, you're infrared.
Oh, am I infrared?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's cool. But anyway, most likely at a launch that you will watch, you will not have a good source of Wi-Fi. And mobile live streaming allows you to do that without a Wi-Fi. And that is one tool that they take away from you until you have 1,000 subscribers. So, if you want us to do that, we'd appreciate it. If you would.
And there's a button, I think, like it's somewhere red. There. It says share, subscribe, but share. If you already subscribed, the next thing to do is help us get some more people and share this feed. Because if you share this feed, then other people see it. they see our channel, they subscribe. So Jack and I have basically set our first goal was for the month of April to end up with 100 subscribers, which we got.
Yeah.
Our goal for May is 1,000. We want to 10x it. We want to go up 10 times. So we need all of the people who are taking the time to spend with us to talk about rockets, to talk about things about moving humanity forward. We need you to share the minuscule way that we grow. Summer goal would be 1,000
Yes.
plus. Yes. So the end of this month is 1,000. Then it would be a really good goal. Look, I think when our video comes out, because so what we've done, in my opinion, is we've done some really nice things. We've met people, we've talked, we've shared, we've done those things, but we haven't created any really long-lasting evergreen content. Our first video is coming, and we're trying to spend a lot of time to get it good. That way, when you watch it,
and as time goes on, your videos will get better. This is,
yeah, we got a lot of practice.
We have lots of work to do, but we were told by lots of people, including lots of the space YouTubers like What About It and Ellie in Space, just get your first video out there.
Yeah,
you can't do anything.
Joe
better.
Tegmeyer with what does he do? The Gigafactory.
Yeah,
he said just get the first ones out there. Just do it.
Doesn't matter. Just
start posting. That's what we've done. Look, I'm going to close that poll out. So go ahead and vote if you'd rather ride a brand new Falcon 9 or a crispy used Falcon 9. Which one would you rather ride? My answer, and I'll tell you, I'm going to sway the. Well, let me not answer it until I sway the poll. But I'll give you about another 10 seconds to answer the poll up at the top, whether you'd rather ride a new Falcon 9 or a used Falcon 9. And we'll go ahead and I'll close that poll and we'll see what the results are. While I'm doing that, if you've already voted, and go ahead and share this link, I'd appreciate it. Jack and I are working hard to try to grow the channel. We have a lot of goals. And one of those goals is going to be stickers. Stickers and
Patreon.
So Patreon, I'll ask that question after. So let me go ahead and I'm going to close the poll out now. T-5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we will end the poll. Let's see what our votes were. And used, we had 100% of our votes. Our 4 votes were to ride a used crispy Falcon 9. And you tell me SpaceX has not changed the paradigm of space travel. Who would have ever said I'd want to ride a rocket that has flown before? Would you want to ride an airplane the first time it ever flew?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are, Hunter.
If you still see us, we are still here.
We're still here. We're enjoying it. Thanks for joining us tonight. Make sure you subscribe and share. Thanks for definitely joining us. Now we've been asked to. I'll make this a poll too, because I'd like everybody to give me some feedback. Patreon. We're trying to figure out if it's too early to start a Patreon. We don't know. Space Vulture. We'll bring Falcon 1 back just for a little side hustle. Yeah. So I don't know, where is Falcon 1? Where is that at?
I have
now?
a feeling that's in their headquarters.
Do you know Space Vulture?
I think something that might have been there. They have, I think, some of the Crew Dragons in their office there.
All right, so I'm going to ask this and see what y'all think, because this is really hard. I mean, because Jack and I are doing this because we like it. We want to be able to grow and get more content. Because look, this is what we've done. Look, there's a great video I'm making right now, and Jack doesn't know about it yet. But Jack and I have done this for years. So, and Maggie too. So one of my favorite pictures I have, and I'll have to find it for y'all, is the is the space shuttle flying on the back of the 747 over Stennis, with Jack and Maggie posed right in the background, waving, and the shuttle's flying right over them. So those kind of things are things that we've done for a while. my wife sent me a picture, and I don't know if maybe she'll text it to me and I can share it with you. There was the shuttle launch that we watched with Maggie. So Maggie saw the shuttle launch from Titusville. And then we were going to another shuttle launch, and it got hit by hail, which I think actually made a pretty cool patch.
So the Falcon 1 is still in Leo,
Is it
low Earth orbit.
the
I
whole rocket?
upper stage. I thought they. Well, I
Where's
guess it was multiple
Did
pieces.
it land? Does anybody know if it landed?
I think so. It's because it's the upper stage. Let's
Yeah.
see. This is Wikipedia.
It
You
might
can't
have
trust
just it might have
Wikipedia,
just
though.
been expendable. Who knows?
But
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
probably before they were flying like all the tests, because it was the Falcon 9 that was doing a lot of the rugs that were so amazing. I used to love watching those YouTube videos of that rocket coming in. Hunter would prefer, so that's five votes now for a used Falcon 9. So that would be interesting. To if you could pass that on to people, is that right now 5 of the 5 people who voted would rather fly a crispy Falcon 9. I think if I make a shirt, that'll be my first shirt I'm going to do, a crispy Falcon 9. I prefer my Falcons crispy.
The question is, do you put Falcon wings on it, like chicken wings?
No,
Deep fried Falcon wings.
No, you put what are those fins called?
The Griffins,
Aged. Yeah.
aged like a fine rocket.
So if you go on our shorts right now, you can see me talking about it. So I talk a little bit. There's a few videos we haven't released yet. So Jack and I tried to create a lot of content. We're still going to go to Stennis and create some more, because there's something really, really, really cool that is only at Stennis.
There's like only a few of them, I think, in the world.
Yeah, that's
like just a few.
And it's a very special rocket engine. And Jack, you want to tell them a little bit about it?
I don't know if you have heard of this. If you have, make sure to write in the comments below. It is a wonderful rocket engine called the Aerospike. It is an inverted rocket engine. So you have your bell. So think about it. You have your bell of your nozzle. It is just inverted so that it goes backwards. So I think what they were doing is it follows the Coanda effect of the exhaust. So it streamlines into the spike. So
if you ever see
it wasn't very effective. It was very efficient, but I don't think it was very effective.
Yeah, so if you ever see rocket engines, right, and this will get into a little bit of the technical side of rocket engines, and I'm not a rocket scientist, so forgive me if I say anything wrong, but at sea level, you have 14.7 pounds per square inch of atmospheric pressure. That keeps the rocket plume, because remember, you want all your force going straight down, because it pushes back straight up. Not because it's pushing down, but because the equal but opposite reaction, right? So it's going down. So the faster it goes, the force goes up. So you're trying to really keep it very focused. So at sea level, you'll have smaller rocket engines, and you'll see them like this. When they get to vacuum engines, so you'll see this with the Raptors. So the Raptor 2s, you'll have the sea level optimized engines, which are just like regular bells, and then you'll go to the vacuum optimized engines, and the bell is much bigger. So it's like twice the size.
So what the bell does, for those of you who don't know, so the reason they have your vacuum and your non-vacuum, so your non-vacuum is so when you're at a sea level, relatively sea level, what it does is it constricts it and it pushes it out relatively even, because after that you don't really have much expansion because it continues. But in a vacuum, it expands a lot. So if it is continuing to expand, from my understanding of it, if it continues to expand, you can still get more energy out of it. So if you keep constricting it into a relatively smaller space than it would if it keeps expanding, I think you can get a little bit more thrust out of it.
Yeah, so that's what it is. So the Aerospike uses the air pressure because it rides. So if you got a spike like this, it's riding like that, and automatically it's expanding based on the proper thing. What I think is really cool about it, do we have any Star Wars fans here? I think it would look like the Millennium Falcon. And look, Starship looked a little, with the blue flame, Starship looked a little like that. And that's it. Hey, I'm going to end this poll here. So if you want to vote, go ahead and vote. We've been asked for a few things. We can't get super chats or any of that stuff going until we have 1,000 subscribers, which if you want to help with that, share it,
and
like, subscribe, comment. Those are the things we've been told to do. But I'm going to go ahead and end it. This was, I'll give it about another 5 seconds. is it too early for Patreon? Do y'all want us to create a Patreon page? And so far, let's see.
Spaceballs is an amazing movie.
We've gone plaid. Actually, I think Elon Musk is a big Spaceballs fan, if not his crew
He
is.
must be.
So too early for Patreon? No. So I guess that's people are saying that it would be okay to set up our Patreon account, and we probably should do that then, Jack, and get that done. And so right now on our agenda, we have to finish our first video. So, and we'll get that released so that everybody can get there and get a better idea of what we're trying to do. Give us feedback on our first video. You know, this is new to us. Were you a YouTube star before?
No.
Are you a YouTube star now?
No.
No. So we're learning as we go. But we've got to get that done. We're going to be working on stickers. So we're trying to get our first group of stickers going. So maybe we'll tie that to the Patreon. And then we need to get a Patreon page and get that up and running. We also are trying to do a website because I want to create a gallery. So I want to tell you one of the most important things to me on this is the people I have met along the way. I have met some really, really cool people.
Yes, we break for no one. It is large enough to do such.
So I don't know if Jack, not this Jack, but I got Jacob, who calls himself Jack. He gave me some information about engineering and specifically about process and how to be able to do things to increase the speed and efficiency of the process. And so he gave me a video on Herbie. He told me to read about Herbie, and the other one was the racer. So my goal is tomorrow is to try to devour one of those things because I want to be able to have a process. So he is an engineer, and I really appreciated his conversation because if I was probably it would have been 10 to 100 grand for what he told me because he solves problems. He told me about one process that when they first started doing it, I think it would take 3 days to do this one process, and they were able through engineering, iteration, be able to watch things, make things more productive. They were able to get that same process down to 20 minutes. And unbelievable. So I really enjoyed meeting. And those are the kind of people we've met along the way. I mean, there's some really cool people out there that think a lot about these things. So this is an important fact of this YouTube channel is I want to be able to on our website to be able to focus with the people we met along the way because they
Very
friends
valuable.
people have texted me and stayed in touch. If I've given you a card, you've got my number, text me. We've enjoyed meeting everybody. It's been a lot of fun and we're going to continue to do it. Uncle Elon. Yep. He has. I just watched a video. I think who's that guy? Is it Bill Mayer? He's one of
Bill
the
Maher,
comedians.
I think.
Just did a interview with Elon Musk a couple days ago. That was really interesting. Thanks for the subscribe, Hunt. I watched that last night. That was really interesting. So Elon Musk, one of the things he talks about is
he has an amazing sense of humor, just for the record.
The engineering process, the way he does things, he works a lot. I think that's what the whole thing is. I'll let you watch that video. It's really interesting. He's look, that's one person. If you could pick somebody that you would want to go to lunch with and have a conversation and learn and pick their brain, Elon Musk would probably be that would be my number one person I'd like to go and have lunch with and learn from because watching his videos and I've seen his stuff with Everyday Astronaut, which was a great interview. I just loved it. When you hear him talking about it, he's so focused on the process and how things are. That kind of stuff is really good. Young Sheldon.
I think you have a good
I haven't seen it. I only known Old Sheldon, which I think Old Sheldon Cooper is based on one of my favorite books. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Confederacy of Dunces, but there's a character, Ignatius Riley. And so it was kind of great. So before my dad passed, Jack and I went to what was that? Adam Savage and
It was
who's the guy who does Vsauce?
Michael Stevens.
Michael Stevens put on a
Brain
candy, and we went there with my dad, and we went underneath the D.H. Holmes clock on Canal Street in New Orleans, is where a good boy waits for his mama, and that's where Ignatius Riley, the character of this book. It is not a book for children. It's usually a college level book, mainly for the topics, but it is fabulous, and I would say that both Al Bundy and Sheldon Cooper were based on Ignatius Riley. I highly recommend that read. It's and if you don't have time to read, so the hack I'll give you is just go listen to it on Audible. It is so well done.
Audible is 100% worth this subscription.
Yeah, it is, and I'm not selling Audible, but right before Hurricane Katrina, I subscribed to Audible. I have probably 300 books in my library, and I've listened to them all. So on this trip, on this rockin' one, we were listening to a lot of Douglas Adams, and Douglas Adams on Audible reads the books. So he does Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So this is
at the end of the universe.
This is a test for everybody out there in chat. Don't answer, Jack. What is the answer to life, the universe, and everything? Let's see who gets it first in chat. Let's see. What is the answer to life, the universe, and everything? And I think this was a
Lone Star.
Yes, Lone Star. Wait, see the
more comedically, more.
Lone.
He's a better comedian than Han Solo.
No, I don't know who that is.
Lone Star.
Oh, from yeah. Give me Paul. Yeah, we've gone right to plaid. So, does anybody know the answer to the universe, life, the universe, and everything? And we're testing our audience geek level right now. We're trying to see how high the quotient is, and I can tell you on this side of the screen, it's high. So I'll give it a second more. Let's see if anybody's going to get this. Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What is the answer to life, the universe, and everything?
And then there are some intro books. They were referenced from the fictional author Ulan Khulafid. They are wonderful titled books.
What was his the Great Arkell Seizure?
That was who was that?
All right. So I'm going to answer the question for y'all, and this will be important. So if anybody ever asks you what is the answer to life, the universe, and everything, the answer is 42. Think Train. Thank you. 42. So what was the question? You know that one, Think Train. Let's see. 42. What was the question?
The priest Hamakavula, that is his religion.
It was a great movie. There's a few, I think it's 5 books. There's The Restaurant at the End of the Universe.
So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. Let's see.
So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. So I'll go ahead and answer. So 42 was the answer to the universe, life, the universe, and everything. I forget exactly how it worded. So they had put that in a computer called Deep Thought, and they asked the question, and it took Deep Thought so long. Allentown, PA. So let me finish this point, and I'm gonna get to the PA part because I got something funny there. So Deep Thought thought of this answer and came up with 42, but it had taken so long that they forgot what the question was. So they made a new computer called Earth, and Earth calculated
it was run by
what the question was. So that's what the one was. But the PA part, let me get to this because it's funny. So we bought our Sprinter. The rocket van came from Devon, PA. I don't know how far that is from Allentown, but when we got it, we got the brake tag from Pennsylvania, and it looks like a blender. So if you go outside and look at your car and look at the brake tag, if it's still like ours, it looks like a blender. And I said, PA puts the PA in party. because it looks like you're ready to make margaritas on my brake tank. So I thought that was kind of funny.
So the order of the books, just if you want to read them, they're very good. I have not read all of them, but I am pretty much at the end of the restaurant at the end of the universe, which is a very interesting book to say the least. You have the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the restaurant at the end of the universe, life, the universe, and everything. So long, and thanks for all the fish. And then, as one would say, mostly harmless.
Yeah, Deborah, that was so Devon is 1 hour north. So when we went there, so the guy from it was Euro Devon was the name of the dealership. He was nice. He picked us up at the train station and he took us and we got to see, and you may know where this is, where Rocky ran up the stairs. He took us ride by there. That was pretty
Oh, was
cool.
it the Fine Arts Museum?
Something like that. And he also took us by where the movie Taps was filmed. It was at a somewhere in Devon that they filmed it. But I think is it Gettysburg that's right near there, or there's another battlefield that is
Was it the Westmoreland Museum of American Art?
I don't know.
Let's see.
That would be let's see. I met you guys last week at Cape Canaveral on what was supposed to be the I would have liked that doubleheader.
would
We
have been very
we ended up
nice.
seeing both of the rocket launches, but not together. I think you had another plan come up for the Falcon Heavy. I think you missed it. Yeah. We got that one and we stayed. Did you see the one Tuesday night? We stayed and watched the Falcon 9.
Wednesday night, Thursday morning. It was at 3:31 on Thursday morning.
Yeah, 3:31 on Thursday morning.
Very odd hour.
That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful when that thing came across the top of the hill. Of course, there was the sub in the base. That was really cool too. I took one picture of it, but I didn't share it on social media out of respect for for all of the military involved in that. They don't need all that online. Look, and they were very nice, but so because Maggie has trouble walking, I pulled up right in Jetty Park where you saw us. We So I pulled in the park and we slept on the side of the road and set the alarms. So I'm well sleeping. And here comes the security guard and wakes us up. It's like, are you supposed to be here? I'm like, yeah, we're supposed to be in the spot, but I told him we were
It's
coming
a bit
down.
easier.
But then there was something was screwed up and it all got I thought we were about to get kicked out. And then so I showed him all the receipts and everything. Everything was in order, but all his paperwork was not in order. So it took him a little while, and he came back. And he finally told me after the launch he had found us. We were actually in a different spot, so we were in the wrong spot. What are y'all plans for launch travel, space travel? So I don't plan on going to space.
Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon.
I would like to go on the Vomit Comet. That would be fun.
Jack wants to go on the Vomit Comet. I don't know.
Not because of the name. It's not really that, but just.
I think they should have
Seems like
named
fun.
it the Chunky Monkey
No.
because of having all the chunks and the Vomit Comet. I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Stennis and we're going to get some because that's where one of the things where the rocket started for us, or at least for me, was Michoud. And Michoud is in New Orleans East for anybody who doesn't know it. It's where they built the external tank. It's where they assembled the Saturn V. It's they load the Saturn V on a barge in Michoud, bring it up the Pearl River, come into Stennis, test it, put it back on the barge, bring it all the way back to Canaveral. They did the same thing for the shuttle's external tanks. They built Artemis there then, right? Absolutely, tank train. So when they built SLS, so when I was a kid, there used to be Space Day at Michoud. And this was like my favorite day of the year. You don't get any better. This is like Christmas all over again, is to go to Michoud. And we would
Christmas
go and
with 3 bicycles.
and they had these little bicycles. It always amazed me that the factory was so big it had bicycles. Well, we went there and we looked at the external tank. Later on, it comes to Artemis and Jack's Boy Scout troop. Maggie's Boy Scout troop goes and tours SLS. So we got to see that. We got some pictures and stuff like that. And then because we live so close to Stennis, when they did the green run, well, we went and we did watched an RS-25, a single engine test. We went on facility and watched that. That was really cool. When they did the green run, I don't think they let anybody on, or at least without a YouTube channel. They didn't let anybody on. So, but we could hear it from the house and we could see the clouds coming up. It was loud. SLS must have been just incredible to watch in person, because not only did it have those 4 RS-25s, it had 2 solid rocket
SRBs.
boosters.
From what I understand, I don't think you can get any louder from rocket engines than SRBs.
Yeah,
I
the
think
shuttle
it's
was
just
loud.
because SLS is not that much bigger than Starship, because it's not.
Yeah.
Starship is twice the power of the Saturn V, and SLS is somewhere in between there. But I think it's the SRBs that add the difference in sound, just because I think it's the solid fuel.
Yeah, they were.
There's something about the solid fuel that just is loud.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to learn with the sound. I mean, that's one thing to look at. The Whoop, something's going off. It must have scared our fire alarm. Well,
Oh, all the talk about the SRBs.
that's all. Yeah, a lot of the smoke. Well,
It's making
so
me concerned.
look, it's we've got a lot of plans on what we're going to do, one day at a time. We do need to grow this community. You told me about the Titusville Space Museum. Can you pass along this hidden treasure to this chat in case anyone is interested? I will be back in mid-July, and I am planning to visit. I had no idea. The American Space Museum. Excellent. Absolutely excellent.
And the Sand Space Museum.
And the
as well.
Sand Space Museum, too, which most people don't know about, which is right on the gates of the Space Force base. And
You don't want to drive without knowing where you're going there.
so
Not a good idea.
So we met a couple really great people at these Bart at the Saturn V, and I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name we met at. He was a submariner at Sands, and I think they weren't ready for Jack or me, like wanting to talk rockets a lot. So it was kind of interesting. But I would say one other thing is, so if you're camping, from what I understand, you can stay at the American Space Museum if you make a donation or something like that. So, Deborah, if that's helpful, you might look into that program. It's a really cute museum, and they actually have the Pepsi Cola that I'm gonna feature in one of the videos about food. So there was a Pepsi that would go to space, and you could drink it in space. They said it worked out.
Pepsi in a can. Now, Pepsi always comes in a can, hopefully.
Yeah.
Depending, I don't think the bottles are as good, but all soft drinks should come in a can, if not a glass bottle. But that's besides the point. It came in a can that I think it had a spray nozzle.
It had a spray nozzle, so you'd spray it in your mouth. They say it worked really well. At least that's what the part did. There's a few different things I want to go and capture. So I want to go to Stennis, where a lot of this stuff was started for me personally, was through New Orleans and through actually I used to drive right through Mississippi and never knew that there was a NASA facility here. I always thought Michoud was the NASA facility, but then come to find out the Mississippi Test Stand, which later became Stennis Space Center, was right here. Starship is down in Boca Chica, but we did see, when we were on Kennedy, we did see where they've got the Megazilla, the stacks. They've got.
I think that is a multi-million-dollar idea.
They've got Hangar X. Yeah. Well, look, I think. Does anybody else think? So this is what Jack made me for Christmas. If you're just joining. I thought I'd share that. Let me plug it in because, but I think somebody needs to be. Father's Day's coming up, and I do believe there's an SLS in my future. What do y'all think? This is the Falcon Heavy that Jack built me. So
it's a bit small, just because you're talking. That's right next to it. It's very small. It's believe it or not, working with very small plastic tubes is not exactly an easy thing to accomplish.
It's got the launch tower and everything. So I'm a proud
It's
dad.
somewhat detailed for being an approximate 2.5 inches tall.
So if you're ever thinking that we just got into space because we decided to start a YouTube channel because of this, you're going to see a lot of things of what we do just because it was Tuesday, not because we wanted a YouTube.
The next
channel.
one of these I want to make is going to be the drone ship and the Falcon 9 landing on the drone ship.
Hold on.
That is the next one I would like to make.
I can't wait for it.
So
'cause
that should be
that goes
coming
to
in the
me.
future.
Do y'all think Jack should make me an SLS for Father's Day?
SLS. How many engines is that? We're talking the blue RS-25s.
Hunter, you would do well in space. Just you would fly around like a ballerina. It would be beautiful. The only thing I have to say, how about a big OK SRB?
Oh,
Oh, big ol' S. I was trying to figure that out.
an SRB.
That would be great.
It would be wonderful. But the thing,
Hey, look, Simon joined us. Hey, Simon.
SRBs.
Don't forget to subscribe and share. That's what we're trying to get people to do. Jack and I have a goal to hit this channel to 1,000
We're now
by
at
the
177.
end of May. And that's going to take a decent amount of work, and it's going to take all the help from all the people we met along the way. But I do think this, I don't know how he would make, maybe a Pepsi bottle would make a really good tank for the center. He's going to have to think about that. We'll let his puzzler figure that
I
out.
have a big puzzler that puzzles too much.
I've never requested a Father's Day gift, but I think I am. Does anybody else think that he should get?
I enjoy doing it, so it's not really a thing.
So Jack and I are talking about one of the things we have on our list that I forgot to mention is a schedule. So we're going to try to get.
Yes, I want to make a Starship. That was one of the things on the list.
We want to make a schedule of when we're going to release videos, because I follow channels too. I mean, let me tell you some of the channels. And if you're into space, you like it, Scott Manley. You got to follow Scott Manley.
Curious Droid.
Curious Droid, another one. Ellie in Space.
Everyday Astronaut.
Everyday Astronaut, Tim Dodd.
Angry Astronaut.
Angry Astronaut. One of my favorites. Angry Astronaut is
probably the absolute favorite.
Yeah.
And then you have What About It, Felix.
What About It,
Small
Felix
Stars,
is great. Marcus House.
The Launchpad.
Launchpad.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of people who cover this content. Everybody has a different take on it, which is really great because, Jack and I are looking at it.
Yes, we do need a schedule.
We do need a schedule, and we're going to get better at it. Please forgive us, but keep giving us ideas because what's better. Because I only go from how I subscribe to things. One, I subscribe to people. Always try to like things when the content's good. Sometimes even when it's not, first thing I do is hit a like, and always let it play till the end on the videos because that's how I keep them making content, right? Is the algorithm wants to know, like, how many times did you comment? How many times did you share it? How many times did you watch the whole thing? Because your analytics show you as you go through it.
The best thing that some people overlook is getting your viewers feedback.
Yes.
Because on a schedule, it's whatever the viewers want because it's what's convenient for you and what you can do. But having your viewers tell you how often they would like to do it, sometimes that's not always possible. But I'm going to say getting your viewers to continue to give you feedback on what you're doing.
Yeah,
because you will never know unless people are telling you.
Absolutely, and that's really important. So I've got a few comments. All right, so when will y'all try to do interviews? There is an interview. So we met an engineer who was a launch engineer, and Jack and I have emailed her, and we've got some questions for her. So we're working on some questions, and we're going to try to arrange something and have her on the live stream. She's willing. She likes that we're trying to inspire. I want to inspire kids like Jack to move humanity forward, because we need some smart people to solve this world's problems.
Yes,
And,
Legos in space. That is my
So
that's my thing.
so we do want to do some live interviews, and we'll do those on the live stream. We definitely want to schedule it. So we're going to try to get that done, and we're going to try to stick to it too. So I will tell you, I've been working on the video. I do this in my spare time. It takes longer to make these bigger videos. So I'm thinking one a week is a very ambitious goal. And but I think when you see it, you can tell me, if you're expecting something a little small, a little bigger, I'll get some feedback from you. Definitely a specific amount. So we've been trying to do some of the shorts. The shorts have helped us get a few subscribers. They don't count toward our watch hours or anything like that. So I think
just
we're going to
because
move
you
more
have to
toward
get 10 million views.
Yeah, our
on
regular
shorts,
stuff.
So it's not short watch hours.
And then we're definitely going to try to upload on specific days, because that's how I do it. You can also do Premiere, so you can schedule it. So it'll premiere and you can see it, so you can put it on your calendar. The next launch coverage. So I believe, and I'm not going to be able to make it, on the 17th is the next launch I'd really like to go to, which is the manned launch of a Falcon 9 out of Space Force, I think, Pad 40. Which would be great from Jetty Park to watch. Crew 6. Yeah, I'd like to watch that. I don't know. We'll have to plan something. It may be just Jack and I on the next launch, simply because the girls may have, we may have rocketed them out for this trip. We were on the road for a little while. So, but they're troopers, they really, like Maggie is so proud of her SpaceX shirt. She's just cruising all over in it.
And some people go with the flow. And
Legos, and
that's what we enjoy.
You need to show Simon the Legos from today. So, because I don't think he got it.
So
I think nights work like this. Yeah, I think the nights for the live stream works really good, because we catch people. I know this is about the time I'm looking at things on.
This is in the background, not space related, but that's the new.
That is something I've been wanting for a while.
His future desk that he may or may not have yet.
Yeah, so the shorts are really good to do. They move. You can do them really quickly, and you can get like when you see. I'll show you like. Let me find one of my shorts.
Ooh, the moon is red.
Let's see. So I think this was
posed earlier by myself. This was, what would you bring to space if you could have it go there and stay permanently, or just have brought and come back to you? It would be this, my Lego space shuttle. That's just a cool little thing that I think would be cool to fly around the space station.
All right, so I'm gonna show y'all one of the shorts, so you get a little bit of. It's Chad again for Rocket Van. Jack and I are out here at the Hall of Fame Museum here in Kennedy Space Center, and this is the Mercury Control Center meatball that hung for the launch of Friendship 7. And one of the things we wanted to do was go over how they constructed these signs back in the day. So these are different layers of metal. Each piece is really hand cut, and they make the NASA logo. And then the red stripe is another piece of metal that kind of wraps in and out over it. There's some hand painted stars, as you can see. And this all is laid on another blue piece of metal. And when you step away, you end up with the full NASA meatball from the Mercury Control Center. And I thought this was worth showing how they made the signs back in the day before computers were doing 3D printing and laser cutting. For Rocket Van, this is Chad. Roger, over and out. So yeah, the video is actually better. The live stream did not do it justice. Actually, we want Amanda to wear the rocket uniform, and actually everybody in our previous live stream voted for that. Hey, did some of y'all are probably just joining us now, so I wanted to show you. So Jack and I ended up with our Starship hats we got from SpaceX. Ordered it directly, but this was one of the things that we got. Ordered a mission patch.
It would be. That would be the first shuttle to order.
For us, this is the first test flight of Starship. So we got these in. This was really cool. This here. So Jack and Maggie, both of my kids are Eagle Scouts. So if you didn't know that, quite proud of that fact. And this is going to feature
will be featured in
our new video. So
first long form standard video content.
Let's see. So what specifics do you have in order to meet, in order to get closer? You know, I think you have to grow your channel to the point where you have a good following. I've seen people that got VIP press credentials and stuff like that had 20,000 subscribers. You know, people who get, you know, the more subscribers you have on a topic, the more relevant you are and the more that they're interested in you being able to tell the story. Because remember, especially a lot of the people, the younger people today, this is the only way they receive their media. They don't follow the news like people like me, older people do. I don't know, follow the news anymore either.
And you're not that really that old.
But the younger people, this YouTube, all the different platforms out there. YouTube is what we're going to stick with. I mean, I know there's a ton of other platforms. Amanda's got an Instagram channel for us. We'll have a website, but this is how we want to communicate. I think this is our platform that we're going to continue to do. Our website, YouTube, and Instagram and Twitter will probably be the ones that we stick with. Although we have to learn how to use Twitter. I think
it's been a long time. Twitter has changed a lot recently.
But the astronaut costumes would be great.
Yes.
Technically, it would be the first space shuttle to orbit in over a decade.
Yes, it would be.
So there's is it the X-37B? Let me see if I can pull up a picture of this. Do y'all know this?
Not really a space shuttle.
Hey, Fusion Viper, how are you doing? Let's see.
X-37.
Tell Deborah, tell your husband I said I would give him I know a secret handshake. I really do.
Scouts have a secret handshake, and it's very coveted.
Yeah, so
and you can't explain it very well.
Can y'all be slow? We're on a mission from God. No, I think we're going to be on.
That might get some weird looks.
Yeah, we'll. Let's see if I got. What was I doing?
The X-37B.
X-37B. Let's see if I can pull it up on mine, because I think this is. Oh, there it is. So
a wonderful space plane.
Have y'all seen this? Anybody seen this before?
And we were debating.
So that flies military. That's
this the other day.
Yeah, that flies military, and that stays in orbit sometimes for years, like 2 years, I think. So if you know anything about, so you had an Apollo program, and the Apollo was going to have a couple more. No, not the Dream Chaser. This is the X-37B. So Sierra Nevada made the Dream Chaser, right? So we got a short on the Dream Chaser too.
I think it's Tenacity.
Tenacity is the Dream Chaser, or is it the same? Anyway, it looks really, really cool. But so
yeah, it's Tenacity.
So the Apollo program had not only the Saturn V, but it had bigger ones. They were going to Mars. The Apollo program was going to go to Mars. Wernher von Braun said, we're going to Mars. And he was building rockets bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, after this period of time, they were also trying to figure out things that could be a little bit more reusable and more flyable. So there was this project called Dinosaur. I think it was a Boeing project.
I'm going to just go ahead and say it was all of the above, because I'm sure they were all somehow involved.
Yeah, so I think it was Boeing. Look up Dinosaur. It's DYNA.
Like dynamic.
OAR. And it was a lifting body. And it would have been probably... So the space shuttle, look, I love this.
Boeing, it's the Boeing X-20.
Yeah. So
It's kind of cooler looking than the space shuttle, but I think the space shuttle is
see if you got a picture you
a
can show 'em.
classic. Let's see. This is what it was designed to look like.
There's somebody's web page
Oh,
there. Yeah, that might be hard to show. Anyway, so
it's sat on top of what appears to be the same system that the SLS is.
so that was what was supposed to ride on the top of the rocket and then launch it and go to orbit and come back and have astronauts and all in it.
Same thing with the space shuttle.
Then comes the committee for the space shuttle. I love the space shuttle. The space shuttle was the rocket of my childhood. So the last Apollo flew when I was before I was 1. Then we had a couple. We had Skylabs. We had 2 Skylab missions that flew, but after that, we didn't fly that anymore. We flew the space shuttle, and I think the first Crippen and Young mission, STS-1, was like in 79-ish, 80, somewhere in 81, somewhere right around there. But the space shuttle was designed, in my opinion, by committee. So, and when you design things by committee, you necessarily don't make
You don't have all the standard
best
ideas.
decisions. The payload bay, I was done because the military paid some of it, which worked really well for Hubble because without the shuttle, we couldn't have done Hubble.
But otherwise, there was really no use for that large of a payload because I think at most, besides Hubble, they used half of it. So
yeah, so
there's not really much.
We had a very reusable space shuttle, and our goal was to save money, but I think it cost $1 billion to refurbish it to fly. That makes space very expensive, and that's not necessarily.
Let's just say it was somewhat eco-friendly.
Yeah. So
don't throw away stuff into the ocean.
Well, so just to cover today, and if anybody wants to put in the chat, our poll earlier was: would you rather ride a brand new Falcon 9 to space or a crispy used Falcon 9 to space? And if you didn't get a chance to answer the poll, now's a good time. You can go ahead and add it in. I'll be glad to add your vote in and count it toward the poll.
He wrote the electrical manuals for the space shuttles.
Yeah, I think you might have mentioned that. That was really cool. You know, there was another person that we met. I think it was his aunt that when they signed off on all the missions, like for like the vehicle, like they tracked the vehicle or whatever in this person. So their signature flew on every shuttle that was up there. So yeah, it's like kind of cool to be part of this program in some way. I mean, we met people who are working at SpaceX that climb the rockets, and they're putting things together, and they have, their job is to build this rocket. They're so proud of the work they do. Yeah, Xavier did work on Artemis. Definitely.
It's not really off topic because that is originally what this live stream was supposed to be. It was supposed to be about the Rocket Like a Hurricane mission.
Yeah,
that is what the original intent of this live stream was to cover it, but we got in just a bit late.
Yeah, but that payload did go to orbit nominal. Like everything is good. So another success for our Electron and Rocket Lab.
And we were talking. We were talking a bit earlier, just, well, you can continue, but this is one point that I would like to add afterwards. So if you want to, or if I can keep going, it doesn't matter.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So one of the people we know, I can't remember who it is, but their parents were friends with Werner von Braun. And one little known fact about him is he loved to barbecue.
Yeah, that was they used to, the person who told us this said they used to always go there and he would barbecue all the time. So you go to the house and
he loves sausages.
So it definitely made me happy to hear these, like all these rocket stories. This is right up my alley. Did they refly that engine, Space Vulture? Was that a one of the recovered first stages? I don't think they're catching them, but they're pulling them out of the ocean and then reflying them.
I guess in the same way they do with the SRBs.
Yeah, I think that's because they tried catching it with a helicopter.
That didn't work too well.
SpaceX also tried catching the fairing with the boats. You know, they had the boats with the big nets. And I think they just catch them out the ocean now. They just land them with a parachute.
Some ideas are better on paper.
I think once you can solve the saltwater problem.
Yeah, I think the next Tropics mission should be sometime this month.
So we did find this really cool app.
I think it's called Coming to Storms Near You. I think it's going to be with CubeSats.
So the app we found is Next Space Flight. So that gives you all of the different launches and profiles, payloads, everything that's going on them. That was a great tip we got from somebody on the road, and so we loaded that in. I think that was Mike that gave me that. Electron also survived re-entry during its last mission. Wow. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Space Vulture. This is when this is a very spunky little company, and from what I understand, the guy applied at all these places, and they all turned him down. So he said, "I'm gonna make my own rocket company," which I appreciate. But he said, "No, we're not gonna make it reusable. And if we ever make it reusable, I'll eat my hat." So I think he blended his hat and ate some of it. I think that's the story we were talking about. Does anybody know for sure on that?
They have a couple.
Shortfall of
They have
gravitas.
Shortfall of Gravitas.
Just read the
Just read the
instructions.
instructions.
Those two are in
Of Course I
Kennedy.
Still Love You. Those are the two at Kennedy. They have Of Course I Still Love You. Let's see.
And then they have Of Course I Still Love You, which is in Vandenberg, and so they have one other one. And I heard that they're also going to be able to get they're going to be able to get a another launch pad at Vandenberg. They're able to get a lease on it. Yeah, just read the instructions. Yeah, blended it up and ate it. So the Bob, I think, is one of the boats that goes get the fairings, which may have had the net on it. We saw Shannon, and I think the other boat was Bob.
So one thing that I found interesting is I wasn't exactly sure what people were talking about. They had Bob and Doug. I don't know if that's related to the fact that the first crewed mission, I think, to the ISS on Crew Dragon was Bob. Not really sure what his last name, and Doug Hurley. But that I don't know if that's related or not. I always thought that's what they were talking about, but I guess not. Just because that's the only thing I think of.
I'm trying to find the.
Let's see. What is their full fleet?
We posted it in a short, but I want to see if anybody.
They have the active fleet.
So I believe this is a Dragon 2020 model, which is like I would call it the Dragon 2. But this is the boat, and they were pushing it around at Cape Canaveral, and in Port Canaveral rather. And we even have ones where people are climbing on top of it. Let's see. I could show you one.
They have, Of Course I Still Love You. Just read
so like
the
you can see the somebody climbing on it. So we were able to get some video of that. That was let me see what date this was. Information.
Okay, so they have 3 current active drone ships. Of Course I Still Love You. Just read the instructions, and a Shortfall of Gravitas. There's no other.
I took that in May 3rd. So that was on the 3rd. I took that. And they were pushing around. I don't know if they're getting, because Crew 6 is going to launch. I don't know if they were doing some last minute drills with a capsule, but I was like,
probably so.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that is a Dragon. And it was kind of far away. So I was like, is that a ferry?
So the Shannon.
What is it? And then we saw it.
The Shannon is the Dragon recovery vessel. So that's what that does.
Okay, so the Shannon we saw.
Bob and Doug were to recover the fairings.
Yeah.
And then Megan is also another recovery vessel for Dragon, but it has a medical facility.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit better than Shannon. But
so we also did.
That's what they'll be using now.
So Jack and I also did. So in the gate, is it Gateway? Yeah, it's Gateway. Mm-hmm. There's a Falcon 9, a crispy Falcon 9. In the museum, hanging up at the top.
I think it was a Dragon. Part of Falcon Heavy.
No, I don't. Maybe it was. I'm not sure if it's flight history. The reason I say that
is because it has the cone at the top.
Feedback for Kennedy Space Center. Not everybody wants very little detail. I want a lot of detail, more detail,
and better lighting.
And turn the music off a little bit. Just feedback. Playa Linda Beach. I'm
I
not
don't.
sure.
I think that was the. I'm not sure. We were supposed to go to that beach, but I don't think we did, or we did not go to that beach. We wanted to go check it out, but
Yeah, we just had so much on the agenda, and I was working, so I had a lot of work to do. And then we had so the one day, like so, the internet just went crazy on us. And next time, I will have Starlink. So I have my Starlink dish. Just need to load it up and get it going. We'll be a better
speaking
prepared.
we have a wonderful.
Oh yeah, so the
sticker
other
pack.
things I got. So yes, I did buy a bunch of stuff to put.
That's a Starlink version.
confirm-
This is their logo.
If you
that they
didn't think
have
I
on
was
the
a
router.
geek before, now you can confirm it.
So one thing that we didn't know is so we were talking to one of the guys who works on Starship, and he just got a shirt, and it was for the Starlink crew.
Yeah, it was cool.
And
It
it has
said
cats and
space,
lasers.
space lasers,
Space
and on the back
lasers.
it was cats and lasers.
And no, they never understood why, but the reason I think they have cats and lasers is because cats have a very interesting obsession with lasers. I think
Well,
that's the
somewhere in
reason.
here, so I have there's another sticker that, and I don't know where it is,
It was
but
up
it's
here.
the Starlink sticker that's going to go on the van. I think, and maybe somebody can tell me what they think this is. Oh,
They're wonderful hats. They're very comfortable. I mean, I feel like we're being
So-
sponsored by SpaceX, but we are purely not. We just enjoy their company.
so this was this is the mission patch. So we definitely had that going on. We ended up with stickers and hats and stuff like that. So I've gotten most of that stuff.
We have the other sticker somewhere. It's a really nice sticker.
Yeah, and Maggie ended up with a really nice from Sands Museum. They had a nice little gift shop there. We ended up doing. I think the
Yes,
American.
yes, I wanted those. The SpaceX heat tile coasters. That was the one reason I wanted one, to make a coaster. Just because.
So there was when I was a kid, they would bring the shuttle tiles to school, and somebody would take a torch to it, and then they would hold their hand up against it, and it wouldn't be hot. And that was always fascinating. Well, Jack got to hold one. If you saw one of our shorts
It wasn't
at the
lit on
American
fire.
Space Museum, there's one there.
We bought it from SpaceX.
Yeah, I bought it on
themselves.
SpaceX. I don't know if it's still available. There is
Yes, it is.
there Jack wants the torch, and I'm like,
I want the torch very bad, just because the only reason is while we were standing 3 feet from Elon Musk, that is exactly what he tweeted.
I think it probably was. He tweeted it.
He
So I
tweeted,
didn't even realize he was there.
this is
I
a
was
very
talking
interesting story.
I was talking to somebody who works for him, and I had no clue. They all make fun of me because I had sitting like one of the guys I'd like to meet, really would find very interesting. And he's like 5 feet from me, and
Not even.
that had no clue, just oblivious. It takes a little while for the squirrel to get into the cage, and
I don't think they're selling the test flight anymore, the test flight patch.
yeah, I think this was short term, so this may not be available anymore.
I'm going to put the torch and the tweet in the comments so you can go take a look at that.
So there is a lot of things. A quick recap, because I think we got a lot of people joined us a little bit late. So I was talking about Starship, and we're going on 2 hours now, and then we're gonna wrap it up a little bit after this. But so a few, in my opinion, and we're talking about the problems that SpaceX has after the Starship launch. One of them is the flight termination system. The flight termination system took about 50 seconds from the time it acted to the time it detonated. The next one is the orbital launch mount, Mechazilla, stage 0. Took a beating, like a massive beating. You put the most powerful rocket on Earth directly at it, you sizzled it. Not a big deal. They learned from it. The third problem they have is Starship. Booster, Starship, fully reusable rocket. Never been done before. Okay. The flight termination system, and again, this is just my opinion, that is an easy problem. They probably have already fixed that. That is the fuel and the oxidizer did not meet and combust at altitude. At sea level, I bet you it would have blown up right away. However, either way, that's people blow up buildings all the time. And if you ask me, Starship's like a water tower. It's a very big building. Okay, so I think that's really the easiest problem. Yeah, that definitely. Look, when I was watching it from below, all of a sudden I look up and it's like right turn, Clyde. Like I'm like, oh, that's not good. That's not good. And so it was really like I couldn't figure out what it was because I could see two flames, but what it was moving so fast doing the flips that the flames couldn't keep up with the end of the flame couldn't keep up with the front of the flame. So it was really interesting. So the flight termination system is one problem. Okay, so then we get to, I think that's an easy problem. We get to the next problem. The orbital launch mount, flame trench, deluge system, cooling plate, whatever you want for that. I don't think that's a big problem for SpaceX. It's harder than the flight termination system, which I think is probably solved already.
Yes, I think that is why some people were able to get
some
them
heat
very
tops fell
quickly.
off really early. So I think they definitely got that data. But so stage 0 is a civil engineering problem. It is not
It's not a
insurmountable. It is a
it's
civil engineering problem.
it's
NASA
not a
has
rocket
it.
scientist
Yeah.
problem.
NASA has solved this problem with civil engineering. I don't think it's a big deal. It could be a time suck, right, for them to get it. But what we also have not looked at is the ability for a company who innovates at a rate faster than anybody else to innovate. And I believe they can innovate because they just got all the data from a launch direct on concrete. They got the most data that has ever been recorded from what a rocket will do. And trust me, in the 60s, they tested it just like SpaceX did. There was nothing different. They just didn't have all the telemetry and all the data collection tools that we have today. So SpaceX captured that data. They're going to solve the civil engineering problems. They're going to make that much more reasonable, much safer. I have no doubt that that will be solved. It may be a little bit of a time suck.
I think the location between Kennedy and Boca Chica, I think they're very similar. So I don't think there's going to be any problem building, a proper launch pad and flame trench.
No, it
I
took
think
a,
the topography is very similar.
yeah, it took a little while to do it. Like I said, it's a civil engineering problem. The hard problem, and this is the problem that SpaceX is working, is Starship. Starship is the problem. It is the question that they're trying to solve. Can we make a fully reusable, fully rapid reusable rocket that we can land the booster and land the upper stage? Can we do that? Can we do it on Methalox? Can we do these things? That is the hard problem. We have these other problems are challenges. Give them that.
Not problems.
That they're to me, they're solved problems. They just have to maybe put some infrastructure in place to handle it. Starship's still the problem. They have that's not a solved problem yet. They have a lot of learning to do. But trust me, this flight here gave that company who uses data to make great innovative decisions, it gave them more data than you can imagine. So I can tell you everybody, and I don't know if we have anybody tuning in from SpaceX, but I am sure those engineers are hard at work, devouring that data, modeling it, coming up with designs to solve the problem, testing those designs and building them and putting them into another test. I bet you that Starship, and my guess is they're going to launch within the next 3 months. I bet you Starship, when they're ready to do it, they can't wait to get the next one off the pad, because the one that they actually want to fly is probably 3 down the pipe, because they're making these rockets at a cadence. I mean, when you look at Mega Bay, it's rocket, rocket, rocket. They're ready to fly. So when we have a problem that one blows up, it is. Methalox is hard to deal with. It is and it isn't. So hydrogen and oxygen seem much harder to deal with. If you think about you think about SLS. I think NASA realized how difficult some of the hydrogen and oxygen can be. I mean, a lot of really just the hydrogen. The hydrogen's hard. I think it gave a lot of problems, and I think that's why SLS scrubbed a couple times. Let's see. But the new ones on S29 are extremely flush. So I'm confident the next one will survive. Yeah, I think again they've already iterated, and that's what I guess when I watch the media, you swear that this had ended SpaceX, like they were done, and I'm like, I don't even think they flew the rocket they wanted to fly.
I don't
They
think
flew the rocket that was filling up the pad.
I don't think the media understands the large intricacies of SpaceX. They're not just doing it for attention. It's not just a
Yeah,
it didn't succeed. It's a mission.
yeah. The story was very negative out there about what SpaceX did, but I think it's I don't want to say it's naive, but I think it is a lack of understanding of the iterative engineering approach. How they really are focused on using these test articles, and they're iterating. So one of the things is this one that launched. I really wish so they gave it this. I don't know if it had a name, but I probably should give it a name if nobody has now. I think we ought to call it something really cool.
Something that blew up.
We should call it. No, it doesn't have to be blow up because I think this was very successful. But I think we ought to call this Kirk.
Kirk.
Yeah. If it didn't
Like
have
as
a
in
name,
Captain Kirk.
yeah, as a Captain Kirk, we ought to call that Kirk. Wasn't he on the Starship Enterprise? Right.
The Rudd ship.
The Rudd ship. So we came up with a new term. I don't know if you're on our last thing. Rapid fence removal. That was what
RFR.
RFR. That's what it did. That rapid fence removal.
One thing we would like to do a video on, but we have to know how to do this ourselves, is a slide rule.
Yeah. Do we have any engineers out there that know how to use a slide rule? If you do, get with us. You can hit me up at chad@therocketvan.com. Again, that's chad@therocketvan.com. And because I don't know how to use the slide rule. Just it's a lost technology. You know, I use
Your dad did, and then
this.
modern calculators came along, and then
This. Yeah. This is what we use.
I think the most analog technology we own is just a clock. I don't think you can get any more.
Yeah, we're going to YouTube it, but I'd really like an
Analog
engineer to
than
be
that.
able to show me. Yeah,
Somebody who used it.
somebody who used it. I actually know somebody who did use one, but I don't think they would be available to do that. So, if somebody is watching it and you've used it to do some calculations, I think it's something we'd like to cover. I'm going to order one here soon. So, and I think we're going to be getting close to 2 hours and 12 minutes. So we're going to wrap it up here soon. Our goals are a schedule, our first video,
First long form content.
Yeah, first long form content. I think it's going to be about 12 to 15 minutes long. Should be good. Want feedback. So schedule, Patreon page, website, stickers. Thanks, Deborah. I appreciate meeting you. 15 minutes. Nice. Is that how long we've been hanging for? 15 minutes over? Yeah, I think we might have been hanging out a little bit too long.
I think we kept it pretty accurate though, because somehow we started exactly at 9 o'clock.
No, I think he's talking about the video.
Oh,
yeah. Space Vulture's talking about the video.
because we're almost 15 minutes past 11 too.
So the video, Think Train I've got, and Jack hasn't seen all the footage, but we did the 30-minute model rocket challenge. He remembers it, but God, the video is so cute.
I think the one word you can put in that is cringe. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, so Jack was probably about 6 or 7. So we used to launch rockets, and we'd do these little videos, and we did the 30-minute model rocket challenge, and that's just, other than the engine, go in your house and build a rocket. And so Jack and I did a competition, and yours was the flying turd. The orbital flying turd.
My new one is the flying froge. It's like a doge, but it's a frog. It's a froge.
A froge. And mine was speckled 72. So, so in the video, and you'll see it. So when it comes out, just watch it because it's really cute. So the 30 minutes is a hard stop.
Hard
So
stop.
at the very end, I had to cut like a little bit of my nose cone to have it go in. And Jack walks up to me and goes, "Cheaty weedy." So that we need to do another one.
And then after that, I started 3D printing model rockets.
Yeah, the 3D printing of the model rockets. So we'll have to pull those.
It was
back
very
out.
effective.
We got some of the designs. Maybe we can put them on the internet so other people.
Matter of fact,
can
I think I still have one.
Why don't you go see if you
I'm
got
gonna go
one?
see if I can find it.
We'll
We'll see how long we
we
can
have
keep
it.
this going.
But maybe he needs to focus on the SLS or Starship. I'd take Starship first. I like the SLS, but I think Starship might be better. Relativity reference. I don't know. 30-minute. No. We actually 3D printed the rockets.
Like fully 3D.
Like we were doing this a little while ago.
So
So
I printed these relatively recently.
so
Probably several years ago, but I can't remember what size motor they ended up using.
So this is an ABS body. So Jack designed this. So I think we might have worked together on one of these, and then he kind of took it over from there. But so the rocket engine slides right in.
This is, I think, the most.
This is the
successful
nose
one.
cone.
This one's better. That one I never sanded down.
You got to sand them. These are all printed with ABS. So
If I
You
share
can
the
see.
files, somehow, some way,
we'll
I
get-
don't have them anymore, which is wonderful. But you can copy it somehow.
Yeah, I think it's on our Lowell bot, on our Octoprint. So we would stick an engine in this, and we fly these all day. Just a bunch of engines, and
And they don't get soggy.
you could launch this. Yeah, hitch ride on a Falcon 9 to orbit. It's pretty light. How much is it per kilogram to orbit?
I think 2,000 a kilogram.
Yeah, this actually, I think what would I put in orbit if I could? I think I'd make a CubeSat. I think I would want just a camera. I think that would be really cool.
I think you should put a camera and a thermometer just because.
Well, what would you put on an orbit? I think I would just put it like a gazillion per pound or something. So let's go open up. We're gonna go look at SpaceX's website. Look and see what SpaceX is. I think on their website you can actually calculate what your
let's see,
payload.
ride share, small sat.
No,
Put payload mass.
yeah, we're gonna how
1
many
kilogram.
1 kilogram.
Is 0.3.
So a kilogram will cost you.
$1,000,000.
It'll cost you 330 grand to fly a kilogram. So, but I think you can probably go up to 50 kilograms for the same price. So put 50 kilograms on that. So, and if you don't know what Jack's doing, let me show him.
Yeah, there's a certain.
So I have priced my rocket launch already. So this is on SpaceX's
Wait, let
rideshare
me see if I
program.
can turn the brightness down so it's not blinding.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's a little bit.
this is the rideshare program. On their website, you can put in how many kilograms your payload is when you want it to launch. So it'll cost you like 330,000 for a 50 kilogram. I'm
Stick a
hoping
gum on the moon
Dear Moon has the gum. I'm gonna
and the
trust them.
Polaroid.
And Jack's Polaroid. So the Dear Moon people we met, thank you.
Okay, so yeah,
Project
50
Gum, Polaroid. I don't know why we need gum on the moon, but made of
50
cheese.
So 50 kilograms is the max for 330 grand.
Yeah, so you got to keep your payload under 50 kilograms, people. Not 1 gram over.
If you
Keep
try
your
to
payload
if you
under
try to
50
lose
grand.
some weight, you might be able to send yourself.
Yeah.
It would be really hard, but you could try.
Not suggested.
They don't suggest it always.
No, I'm going to suggest against it. So, Well, first video's coming. Get ready for it. We maybe 2 days. Thanks, Think Train. Appreciate you. And I think Think Train's got his own channel he's starting. So definitely interesting. Thank y'all for tuning in. Everybody who's spent the time with us, we've enjoyed it. And
Thanks for sticking around for 2 hours.
Roger,
Over and out.
over and out.